Big Time Auto Racing, episode 34. Final episode of the Cars Tour season. We have crowned a champion. Brendan Butterbean Queen has won the championship. And it was a great race at Wilkesboro. But before we get into all that action, I guess I'll introduce myself one last time this season. I'm Dylon Wilson here with my co-host Brandon Pierce. And this episode is brought to you by GeoCut Laser and Powder. Find them over at geocutfabrication.com. You can order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse. Fast lead times, no minimum orders. Again, that's geocutfabrication.com. So Butterbean wins the championship, Brandon. It was a hell of a race. Connor Jones wins 2 in a row to finish the year. Big story there.
Yep.
A lot of fireworks in that race. We had a pretty good time. Me and you actually came away with pretty decent results. You finished 10th. I finished 13th. That is saying something for sure, because it took me fucking 15 races last year to finish 13th. This year it only took me twice. So we are making improvements steadily. I'm excited to do this episode because this is the first time I have crossed the checkered flag this year. I have raced once this year, but made it 8 laps, as you guys know. So excited to give my feedback on the absolute disaster of the last 50 laps I had, and getting to watch Brandon slide into a wreck right in front of me. I also have some other good GoPro footage and stuff I want to add in here. But Brandon, how are you feeling? Is your headache going away yet from the parties afterwards? How are you feeling post-season, post-Wilkesboro, post-Cars Tour season, I should say?
So first order business for our viewers and listeners, the headache finally went away, I think yesterday about
he left
7:30.
yesterday morning. Yeah, that's how I felt.
And I mean, full disclaimer, just complete honest.
It's Wednesday, by the way, folks.
Yeah. So that's the first order business. And then secondly, me and you got to race with each other, which was fun because we actually were pretty decent, there early. And then I looked up and I'm like, what the hell happened to Dylon? And so like he said, folks, we'll let him kind of tell you about his, as he put it, disastrous 50 laps. I mean, well, that's the real question. Not to give it away or be a spoiler, has your headache went away from the vibration that you had that was in that last 50 laps?
Yeah, luckily it really wasn't vibrating as bad as I was probably slamming to my pit crew and everything that it was. But basically,
you came by me on the Vespa at the end of the night and said,
"Yeah,
hurry up and get changed, get to the Sugar Shack." The last 50 laps, I was like this.
Yeah, I was basically just wobbling the whole way. It was a crazy little race, and I had my my standard. I always have some stuff happen, so for sure we had some chaos here and there. We avoided some wrecks. We actually made it through a big wreck. That felt good. I remembered how to miss a wreck. I also almost wrecked right in front of the leaders one time, or the championship leaders. So that was close. Me and Isabella got together. I didn't really give her a whole lot of room. I think she got loose and stuff too. We'll get into all that. I wanted to, before we get in, this is the first time we've raced at Wilkesboro and it not rained. I made a quick note of that here. It did not rain. I think that is due to you wearing extra tufts or whatever they're called.
Yeah. So Rob, when you listen to this, it worked.
Yep. It did work. You basically acted like it was going to rain and didn't see a drop of rain all weekend. However,
well, yeah, I dressed like it was going to rain and the potentiality of snow so I took care of both variables in one wardrobe.
Yeah, you did. You were dressed for the slopes for sure. It was a 2-day show. The first, I guess, the only 2-day show this year as far as qualifying and race day is concerned. Is that right? Has there been any other?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think you're right on that.
Pretty unique circumstance in the car store. You usually don't see that happen very often, qualifying on a separate day. But that it was the case at Wilkesboro, and honestly, I thought it was kind of neat. It made it, added a little bit of something to it. I thought it made Saturday a whole hell of a lot easier, at least getting up to the track and everything. Most of the time we're up there at the ass crack of dawn and just waiting to get in there, and we all got terrible headaches. This time everybody got to sleep in pretty good, so that was nice. That was definitely a blessing for the Cars Tour and the Wilkesboro. That pairing always ends up, a little dicey, if you will.
Yeah.
The aside from that, my first practice day in a while. We'll do this like old times, man. I'd like to talk, the whole practice day thing this time around I was wondering how it would be with. It wasn't a crazy big field, right? So, thought maybe we'd be able to get some good runs in. It was a pretty spacious, fairly relaxed practice at Wilkesboro for the first time ever. I think. I mean, there was definitely some moments here and there.
It wasn't like May this year when the track went green for 50 minutes
Yeah.
and there was 45 damn cars out there. And
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
making mock runs back to back to back to back, and yeah, so it was a little bit more of a relaxing day, and I made note of that as well. I thought that the first time, in my car tour career, that I was like not extremely rushed throughout the whole practice deal. Now, I'm not acting like I had a great practice. I wasn't as fast as I would have liked to have been. I thought that I was missing a little bit of speed late in the first practice, and usually it takes me a while to get my bearings or whatever, and by the end of first practice I'm pretty inspired to go after something in second practice. But by the end of first practice I was kind of like, man, I don't know what I need to do here. I feel like I'm missing something. But we worked good together, me and my guy. It's been a while obviously, but we all worked good together still, and it was fun to kind of dissect things again. And I think I've learned a lot this year, just kind of being in a different position career wise, that's made me understand racing a little bit better and understand how to communicate with people better. I think I've gotten good in that sense of things, at least better than I was before. So I felt good about that. However, that didn't necessarily translate over to speeds or nothing like that. But we did at least get to drink some beer Friday night before. That felt good. Brandon, I know usually that's not your calling at Wilkesboro. You usually avoid me at all costs Friday night.
Yeah, I say
or Tuesday nights.
Screw you, I'm going the hell home.
Yeah, anytime there's a car tour race at Wilkesboro, Brandon typically puts up a force field in between us. You wouldn't even know he's friends. Well, he won't even talk to me. As soon as practice is over, he's like, I'm out, I'm hiding. But turns out that 2 p.m. The 2 p.m. gate opening is Brandon's kryptonite because he stayed and had a
fantastic.
beer too.
Yeah.
Had good dinner too. We had some pizzas and wings, and
food was good.
Credit to Dolly's. Had some cold beers. Good times. It was a pretty relaxed Wilkesboro. Like, obviously the crowd wasn't a super astonishingly overpacked crowd. There wasn't a lot of camping going on down in the lower fields or nothing. So like you didn't have that super bombarded rush of people the whole time. So it was kind of nice at some points to relax and take things in a little bit more than I typically do there. It's usually such a wild party the whole time. Not party, but I mean just literally like
there's a lot going on normally.
Throughout the day, just walking up the hill when we are bone sober going to drive race cars, people are partying like hell, wanting us to party. That's not necessarily the case this time of year. So it was a little bit different situation. But it was a damn good time. Brandon, let's go back to the old format, right? We used to talk about our whole practice day and all that stuff before we got into the rest of the episode. It's the last one of the year. Might as well do this thing a little bit on the longer-winded side. How was your practice day?
Yeah, man. Well, after I went and I'm trying to figure out how to really word this because it almost failed miserably. Crept up to the top a little sooner probably than I should have. And definitely arced turn 3 a hell of a lot more than I should have.
Yeah.
And almost brought it back on the rollback and came to pit road, sat for 10 minutes and made sure I didn't need to change driving suits. Pretty good. I mean, like you said, we didn't have any issues. Everything went pretty smooth. We were able to try, quite a few different things. Me and you talked, even though it was a 2-day show, with qualifying and with everything else going on, the practices were condensed. I think altogether we had probably an hour and 40 minutes, give or take.
Yeah.
Total time. So, but got to kind of get a balance that I felt like that I was happy with. Kind of like you said, it wasn't nothing that necessarily lit the world on fire on the speed charts by any means, but I felt pretty good about it. And I think the biggest thing for me, what I kept trying to tell myself, and I know me and you talked about it quite a bit, and it kind of sucked because we didn't know what to expect until Saturday, but was what the modified rubber was going to do to the racetrack.
Yeah.
And if you kept going that way and like maybe say you found speed, if you were going to be in trouble come time to the modified rubber or vice versa. So I can say for us as the race transpired, I felt like we kind of hit it right as far as where we went with our balance, giving up some of that raw speed because I think it just made us better over a long run. And fortunately, this Wilkesboro race actually, for the most part, did have some long green flag runs. So, but yeah, practice day, went pretty smooth, and I was feeling pretty good about it going into qualifying, and then qualified where I normally do. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't feel real good about practice, and I didn't feel real fucking good about qualifying either, especially after I laid my heater of a lap down that put me about 27th. I don't really know what happened.
Tell everybody what happened when I didn't even say anything to you. So everybody knows me and Dylan are really good friends. So y'all probably can totally vision this, but I went and changed, came and sat down beside him on the wall. And I didn't even say anything. I just turned and looked at you. And as we kind of like made eye contact, do you remember what you said?
No.
You're like, well, I guess I just fucking suck.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to tell you. I don't really know. You did say the fact that it was chipping out 8 times. You were like, I knew that was probably not great, but.
Yeah, we definitely had the wrong gear, and we definitely had the wrong air pressure, and we have a pretty rusty driver that probably couldn't make up the difference that it needed to take to figure those things out quickly. I should have been able to kind of give them better feedback in practice to avoid this. Just rusty on my part, man. I made some pretty shitty calls and kind of put us on the back burner. Everybody was doing the whole really slow first lap.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
I knew I wanted to, the thing is, everybody's doing real slow first lap, or they would go like half-ass slow, whatever. I was like, well, hell, I'll just send it first lap and see what happens. Maybe if you go kind of hard, maybe I know the recipe and nobody else does. Turns out I was wrong, and it definitely scrubbed off a good little extra bit of what I could have laid down. I think I used too much on the dead lap. Again, it's weird, right? It's a new ripped up racetrack. We're dealing with weird temperatures, different types of rubber on the track, different tire compounds. We're also going insanely fast with higher tire pressures than we're used to, and it's weird, man. And if you don't hit setup right, you feel like you got 4 damn basketballs on your car driving into the corner, and it's believe it or not, at 140 miles an hour, that ain't that fun. And it sucks. And I, honestly, my qualifying lap did not feel that bad. We obviously had too much gears because I was, it was not good. But it was one of those deals where I didn't feel nothing in the lap that felt bad. And even watching over GoPro, I was like, don't look that bad. Like, I mean, I guess I could have maybe hung it out to the wall a little higher and drove in harder and been more of a badass. But I don't know where those 3/10 were. So, we're trying to really figure that out. Obviously, it takes a lot. A driver has a lot to do with qualifying. Like, we can sit here and I can sit here and make up all the excuses that I want, but if I was a really good, really super experienced driver that knew all the tricks, I could kind of make up this difference and at least get a few tenths out of it easily. At least that's the impression I'm under. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a hard, fine line with a very, it's a particular skill set that people work on all year, and they sit there and make mock runs all year, and it's hard to do. So, needless to say, I didn't expect to go in there and qualify real good. I'd have liked to. No, don't get me wrong, but it definitely did not. I definitely was below my expectations as far as like the amount of time off of the pole or whatever that I was. I want to be closer than that. So it didn't feel good. And obviously, going to a ripped up track like that, you need a lot to make a car go good in qualifying, and we don't have it right now. So we're working on it. Hopefully in the off season we'll find it. I don't know. We're gonna need a fucking leprechaun or something with a magic hat. And if I find that son of a bitch, I'm gonna get it. But we're gonna work like hell. We're getting there. It's hard. It ain't no joke, man. This is the hardest series there is. When you sit on the couch all year and you go out there and try to make the lap of Wilkesboro, you ain't perfect and you ain't got the perfect feedback to tell your crew chief what you need to qualify. it's easy to be a couple tenths off of even mid-pack. So, yeah, definitely did not exceed my expectations in qualifying, by no means. But one of those deals. Like I just, it's a tough little deal. But with 29 or 28 cars or whatever in the field, knowing we're kind of doing the easy math in my head before qualifying, I'm like, well, good chance we're gonna be kind of mid-pack or back in the pack here. So we wanted to set our car up for the race. And we did that for qualifying, right? We knew, like, we didn't go in there thinking, I've got to make a perfect lap here. I've got to qualify great. It's all about qualifying. That's not how my day was all about. Like, don't get me wrong. We knew where we was at, and we knew what we had, and kind of knew where we was going to be. So we tried to do that. And, man, that modified rubber was a little different than I thought it was going to be. That's for damn sure. I don't know how your car felt the first damn 20 laps, but mine felt like shit. Give us a good, how'd your first 20 laps go, Brent? I think we both had pretty good, about the same.
I was screaming that I was freer than shit.
Yeah, I went the opposite way.
Yeah. But we were free in qualifying. So Friday night. So I'm like, when it cools off, I don't really expect it not to be that way. But then we're like, how much do we tighten up? Because we feel like after a heat cycle and as the run goes on, it's going to tighten up. So sure enough, that first caution, we come up pit road and we snug me up a little bit and get back going. Halfway through that second green flag run, track starts tightening up. But since we had tightened up, now we were like double. So now I was starting to get like that front push, like that skate. But yeah, that modified rubber is definitely different.
Yeah, it definitely threw our adjustments for a loop, and I started off really, really tight, and we made a big old swing at it, and man, I did not feel anything. I didn't feel any kind of change at all, and that was I don't know if that should have been an early indication of maybe there was something amiss in the left front, or if that was just an indication that the mod rubber was our left front issue was something that if it would have happened that early on, I don't think it had made it the whole race. It would definitely had to have been a late race deal. I think our adjustments were essentially obsolete because the track started changing, like you said, right? Because the mod rubber started coming up. So then we come back in and made more adjustments. The mod rubber is finally starting to almost gone at this point. So it's just this battle of like trying to figure out what is like, especially when you're in the position I'm in and you can pit every caution. We are working our asses off every caution. I mean, the guys definitely earned their money. It was a caution, or it was a pit stop frenzy for us, which anytime we go to Wilkesboro, my pit crew does at least 20 pit stops per race. I think they literally have each time at North Wilkesboro. So other than the one that I read at lap 8, but it's just one of those things, you gotta keep digging and stay out there. It was a exciting race though. Even going back and watching it on Flow, there was a lot of good racing up front, like a lot of near misses, near big problems for Butter being early on. Me and you talked about that. We seen him get jacked up and slide through 3 and 4 one time in front of the field, and
I'm like, we're wrecking. Yeah, we're all wrecking.
Almost got real big. For really the first, what felt like the first half of the race, which is not necessarily accurate, but pretty close to that. It felt like, man, you kind of just rode around. Like, I don't feel like I did not do anything for at least the first half of the race, other than go out there and just work on because I really couldn't do anything. I could last for a few laps and it would just fade really fast. So just, one of those deals. Me and Brandon almost ran the same race the first half. Like, that's why we can kind of speak cohesively here, because we ran side by side or front nose to tail, either one way or the other for most of the deal. Even Donnie told me about that the other night. He's like, he didn't have flow going, but he was like, sure enough, damn you, it is wherever Brandon was, you were like the whole race, like wherever it was throughout that. Yeah, that's how it felt in the car too. Like it, most of the time. So it was interesting. It was pretty, somewhat tame. I say tame. I mean, there was some wrecks and stuff like that. Other than the big one when Ryan got turned there with what lap was that? Was there 69 to go? or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
67, 69, something like that. I
Yeah,
remember it
somewhere
being right
around
there
there.
now.
Yeah.
And that's when Ryan wrecked, and at that point, that's when you the big wreck. I'll let you explain that. I was behind Brandon. I got checked up way before this, so it was, I just got my car fixed, I think, at that point. So, Brandon,
Yeah.
from your perspective, big old pile up ahead. What happened?
So we went off into 3 and 4, the previous lap, and I saw Ryan Parker and Ryan Millington. They had all been kind of racing hard for, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps. And, Wilkesboro's got room. And I think even, not to change subject, but would you say that you felt like the groove in 3 and 4 was a lot wider this race?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was
Yeah.
way wider. Yeah. I thought
So I
people were
think
creeping
that's
way up there.
Yeah. So
I thought
think that's
Landon
what
was wrecking one time, but he was just trying shit out.
thrown in the
You said-
middle. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what kind of led to this wreck. I guess increased the chances of it, so to speak. So they went off into 3 and got 3 wide and stayed like that all the way down the front.
There's a funnel down there.
Yeah.
Basically just
So
literally
yeah,
funnels.
and when they got to turn 1, I think Parker drove it off in there the same probably as he had been. I mean, it looked like him, Ryan Millington, and Ryan Wilson got in there about the same. And Ryan, of course, had the edge, I would say, really on both of them. And Millington went to go to the bottom, so he really wasn't going to be a factor. And it looked like Parker just caught Ryan in the left rear. So I saw that, and I'm like, well, I know exactly where the hell he's going.
Through the grandstands.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, he's going to fucking hit a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, and he did. And thank God, Ryan's actually a buddy of mine, and I've known him for a long time. Anybody who's heard me and Dylon talk on this podcast before, him and my family have known each other for a long time and have raced together for a long time. So I really hated to see that happen to him. For anybody who has followed his career, obviously last year, knows that he had a pretty nasty concussion last year, and it kind of almost ended him racing. He had just kind of got back racing a decent amount this year. So last I heard, he is doing better. He does have a minor concussion and a bruised back and a few other things. But other than that, so far, so good. So glad for that. But he did, in fact, hit a ton. And after seeing Ryan talk about it, which I was kind of wondering, but I think me and you can agree, when a car hits like that, you don't really know, like, did it knock all the brake lines loose off the rear? Does he not have rear brakes? But the reason I say this is because that car shot down the hill it picked up speed. Well, the reason is because he was knocked out. So that's why. And so everybody just kind of funneled in there to the bottom and the middle. I mean, we had cars going everywhere. And I was tucked up behind Isabella. She kind of was up in the loose stuff and starting to like kind of back it in a little bit. And she got straight. And I'm like, man, my choice, like for where there was all cars going, I'm like, my only choice here is to get on the binders and spin into it. Or just spin in general and hope to keep it off the fence. Probably sideswipe her, which is what I did, or drive off in here and not miss it, and I'm going to front clip it all the way to the windshield. I mean, that was really, to me, was the only two options.
The position you were in
So I'm sure out of your windshield, obviously I took plan A.
From my windshield, I was a good probably 8 car lengths back from you at this point, at least. It felt like. I don't really remember, but I remember by the time, I was getting woed up, like standing on the damn brakes, and you were just spinning, and I'd caught a gear and got it slowed down, and seen that you just kind of, you didn't hit hard or whatever. I seen it wasn't that bad, but I got it woed down in third gear, and on my GoPro, I revved my shit up at you whenever when I drove by.
So I heard somebody do that. I'm glad now that I was bugging you. Yeah.
I was like, shit. I think that was my international sign of, hey man, you're good. Keep digging. Like I was like, fired up. You're good. I don't know why I did that. But I watched that as I was watching back on my GoPro shit, and I was like, that was like unconsciously. I just did that, and like I looked at your car and I revved my shit. I don't remember doing it or nothing. Like it was just funny looking back at it.
So the only part where I got nervous is obviously getting off in there, as Dylon and me have told y'all, and for anybody who's not made the trip to Wilkesboro, if you haven't and you physically are able to, what's wrong with you? You need to. Please do next year, A. But B, it is downhill into turn one. So you're picking up speed anyway. It's a very odd corner. Really, I feel like the only other place we go to where we go downhill into a corner, would you agree, is New River probably?
Yeah, can confirm it's downhill because my shit didn't start after that first red flag. I was at probably the start finish line.
I was able to
I was
clutch it
like,
and just
damn it,
roll.
boys, I'm gonna need a push here. It didn't start, so I'm like, I finally get it to roll. It starts rolling, and it picks up speed, picking up more speed. I'm like, damn, I might have made it work. And it's like, then I start going up the hill to like even get more speed going down in the wood. And sure enough, I got enough speed to fire it. I mean, that's how downhill it is. You know,
Yeah.
got the race car from a dead stop completely rolling by sitting inside of it trying to get it going. So it's that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. So the only part where I got a little nervous is I got up on the side of Isabella, like almost in her window net, literally, or maybe was. And that is where the right rear tire went down. But of course, at this time, I was obviously like Dylan grabbing neutral and had the clutch pushed in, just trying to, not hurt the motor. But I'm like, okay, that sounds god awful. I can see daylight in the wind in the rear view here. So we definitely have a shit ton of damage. And not really sure what else. So got it spun around, knew I had a flat, got it back to the boys, and we got kind of lucky because of it being a red yellow and they went to work. I do
And
think we are going to start carrying bear bond strips in the toolbox because
they 3D printed they 3D printed
yeah,
with tape a new
we
quarter
were
panel
hoping
for you.
that 5-star bodies was going to come down and maybe make a new mold
I'll come
because
scan it.
we absolutely made a new right rear quarter panel, greenhouse, quarter window out of 3 rolls of duct tape.
Yeah, well, that's pretty nice. At least you got something out of it.
Yeah. So can confirm though, Wilkesboro, we are carrying a lot of speed, and if you knock your right rear crush panel out, it's loud as shit, and you're gonna get a lot of stuff in the car.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
I was absolutely covered in rubber after the race was over, but that's the most important part. Big tip of the cap to my guys. Their mentality is the same as mine, no different than Dylan's crew. When you have these family run teams, and I'm not talking shit about anybody else's team, so I want to go ahead and put that out there, but not that it doesn't mean anything to those guys, it does, right? But I think Dylan could probably touch it. Like, it means more, right? Like you no different than you with you guys. Like, you've known your guys since you've been a kid, man. So like
Yeah.
you would and will and do go to battle with those guys every night you go race, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what you look forward to. That's what you're there to do. And my mentality is, if the sumbitch is still rolling and holding water, we're running until it don't do one of those things. If it's still running and it's rolling, we're gonna keep digging.
Yeah.
And
It is cool because like I mean it's more of a it don't necessarily it has nothing to do with the size of the team. It's just like there is big teams out there that are really close and there's small teams that are really close. It's really just all about like that bond that the team itself has. Like you just got a bunch of uptight assholes on a team. Like nobody's gonna want to like it won't be fun to work there. They'll be trying to hire people all the time. They can't keep employees. It's a
yeah,
telltale sign. When people are constantly hiring, it's just that like there's never it is a brotherhood in a way. I mean, I think you saying that big teams are small, not talking shit about big teams. What you saying that like made me think of like multiple teams that are big that I can think of that like have like a very very tight bond and
right,
like would damn bleed for each other. But at the end of the day, they're racing for the driver. They don't even know shit about the driver. They don't even know the driver's middle name, but they
right,
love each
yeah.
other. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool deal for sure. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, no, you're good, man. That's I wanted you to kind of run away with it because I knew our approach on it was kind of similar. So those guys, I was like, is anything else hurt? And they're like, other than the right side looking like pure shit, no. Like, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna get a tire on it and be all right. So they went to work. It was mainly cosmetic. I mean, we didn't suffer any suspension damage, luckily, or anything like that. So that we were able to use the time allotted for that red yellow and like I said, get it patched up the best we could. And I mean, as people saw, got back out there. I got clear of, I think, you and somebody else and kind of a few others, and kind of got in a spot where I was kind of racing myself, which was nice. Like, I was able to kind of kind of felt like my own little practice session. I was able to kind of move around and try out some lines and listen to the spotter of, was that better or not, time wise and whatnot. Next thing you know, he's like, all right, I'm gonna mark the leader for you here. And I'm like, oh shit. Like because it had been about 25, 30 laps, and I knew a comp caution was coming. And he's like, you got 8 to the comp caution, but Carson was 5 back. And I just remember going off into turn 1, and he's like, he's 4 back, 3 back, and I come off a 2, and I'm like, where the fuck is he at? Like, where is he running to close that much? And I look in my rear view, and I promise you, you could not have fit a grease plate between his right side door and the fence.
Really?
And I'm like, the hell with that.
Yeah.
I ain't going up there, not doing it. I'm not.
Yeah.
This thing's already wounded. I'm not going up there. You can have it. And what do I look like? Car and a half back. Connor Jones is right there in his tire tracks. So they go by me, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Let me creep up there a little bit. I go off into turn 1, and I moved up probably a car. Keep in mind, I'm still probably 4.5 feet off the wall, I'd say, give or take. That's plenty high enough for me, bud.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Old ass end got light, and I'm like, nope, I'm going to creep on back down the hill here a little bit.
I did the same thing. I went there and followed somebody one time. I got all cocky. Next thing I know, I was damn whoa, I was dirt tracking her, having to feed a little throttle to her because Daddy got his right rear up in the red stuff.
So,
but no doubt, I mean, and powered your way through, made some passes. Obviously, the big one happens, and I gained a lot of spots because of the big one happening, no doubt. But at the end of the day, survival is survival, and man, you got your top 10 to finish the season off. So I'd be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it was good, man. Because I feel like we've been gaining and making some strides. Everybody at Carroll Speed Shop the last, I'd say, like I said, month and a half, 2 months. We've and our races have shown that as far as like how we've ran in the race. The result might not show it because we literally got tore up. I mean, we finished the other night, we still got tore up, right? So like same thing, Tri-County, we're running 8th, 3 to go and end up on the hook, so it's part of it. But, I've really been proud of the effort that's gone in all year, but I've really been super, super proud of the effort that's went in the last, like I said, 2 months or so. And, I hate that was the last one because, like I said, obviously some high grip tracks. And, I think that's another reason why we kind of felt good going into Wilkesboro. I mean, they're obviously 2 completely different racetracks, but to have a good, Tri-County being high grip and had a good run going there, we were hoping to do the same at Wilkesboro. So I hate to see the car store season end, but it has been a long season. But I'm not done yet. I do have one more late model race this year. So anybody, knows me, knows I love the Zacharias family, and I've been supporting them obviously in their Myrtle Beach years, and then since they've been at Florence. So I will most definitely be at the South Carolina 400.
Yeah. So, what is that? How many full-time seasons now have you completed of Car Store?
In the Car Store?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that was my 7th full-time season.
7 seasons. That's something to hang your hat on for sure.
Yeah.
Grinding those things out. It gets frustrating a lot of times. I did it for 1 year, and I questioned how the hell I could ever do that again without going crazy.
Yeah.
For sure. So, I guess I'll kind of run over our scenario, and we started in the rear, of course, and knew early on our plan was to kind of chill. I knew we'd have to work on it, right? I knew my car was not going to be set up to a T as far as what the feedback and the adjustments that I made in practice. I knew it probably, who knew if I was going to make the right calls as far as the race goes. And so I knew we had a great opportunity, and we have the perfect pit crew to sit there and make adjustments all night. Like, no doubt. We have the great, literally, I don't know if you could have guys much faster than that. And not to mention, Chad's guys are always right there to help me too, between Roper and Todd and Gage and those boys. So they're always right there too. So I can't, not only give credit to my guys, but so knew we had to make some adjustments, and knew that it was going to take a while for me, because remind you, I've only raced once this year. I'm not going to say that again. This is the last time I say it. I've only raced once this year, and that race was 8 laps long for me, okay? I haven't raced this year yet. In those 8 laps, I got passed like 3 times, all right? So that wasn't the most impressive 8 laps in my career, and then I fenced it, okay? Ain't got a whole lot of experience this year, so needed to knock some rust off for sure. Had to kind of figure out, the little things, little stuff, and get comfortable again. It takes a lot, and this is not a normal racetrack to be learning these things at or relearning everything at. So anyway, I'm trying to learn these things as fast as I can, and pick things up and try to not give up too much, right? Like we didn't really start in front of very many cars, but we did not pit to start the race just to kind of so I could get a balance and just give them feedback. Didn't necessarily lose ground there. I didn't push very hard at that point because I knew we would pit at some point and probably lose track position. But I did want to see what we had, and I wasn't really moving forward. Was really tight to start off with, like we'd already talked about. Most of this is to do with the modified tires, and I'm still not exactly sure, what adjustment at what point was the negative that hurt us. But like at some point, I was tight. I needed to get freed up, mainly on throttle on exit. I was super tight on throttle. Could not pick the gas up, and that sucks there. And we made an adjustment on the right rear and didn't feel anything. And that was something that the amount we moved track bar, you would think I would have felt it, but didn't feel anything. And I don't know if that was a sign of things to come or if that was the modified tires. We haven't exactly diagnosed that yet. More than likely mod tires. Nonetheless, didn't really make a lot of speed gains the first 30, 40 laps, but we did make it manageable to where I could kind of hold my own in the top, right there with who I was battling with anyway. And when the red flag came out for Ryan's wreck, the big wreck, the one that you was in as well on lap with about 69 to go, we were sitting like 13th or 12th actually because of the big wreck. And I think when the wreck happened, we were about 20th. So we gained about 8 spots, and I'm getting pretty excited at this point. So I'm like, damn, we've been working on this thing all night. The run before that was the best it felt all night. It was the first time I was able to kind of get forward and start picking. I didn't pass anybody yet, but I was making ground up on a couple of cars ahead of me.
No, I think you had passed some because you were. I mean, when the wreck happened, you were right behind me, right? I mean, I know you were.
Yeah.
So you had passed some cars because we got to the. I pitted with you every caution.
Right. I don't remember who exactly I got around or whatever, but I got around a couple guys, some on the top, some on the bottom, whatever it was. And first time the car felt decent all night, right? Like I knew didn't have a whole lot, but thought there was a good chance that if it felt like this and a couple more wrecks happened, I was going to be in good shape. Well, sure enough, big wreck happened. So at this point, I'm like, shit, I'm getting pretty excited. I'm hearing them talk on the PA thing about Sugar Shack and Raising Hell. I hear it in the car and I'm like, damn, I'm getting pumped up. I'm usually an emotionless, like cryptic asshole in the race car, but I heard that and I'm like, fuck yeah. I started singing. Should Have Been a Cowboy came on. I was singing to the guys a little bit. I was reminding them that it was Wilkesboro and they need to all loosen the fuck up. And I don't know why everybody's so tired. We only did 10 pit stops. Y'all need to chill out. I ain't even got to drink a beer yet. I was keeping the mood light. I was pumped up, excited to this point. I think all the guys were pretty excited too. Got the car started by rolling or whatever. So that was another accomplishment. So it was vibes were high, right? Vibes were high on with about 67 or whatever it was to go, and everything went to hell from there. Pretty much, it just started feeling like shit. I'm telling you, the next restart, it went from feeling the best that it felt all night to me wondering if I think I probably had got my tires dirty in the wreck or whatever and didn't get them cleaned off enough after the red flag or the air pressures went down or whatever. It felt terrible for 2 laps. Got a little better, but then started feeling even worse. And we're chattering. I'm talking, you drive in the corner, you lose wheel once you get to center, and you're chattering almost wheel lock all the way off. I drove like that for 60 laps. I mean, it was a joke. It was a joke. I don't know how the right front didn't blow, but I kind of accepted my fate at that point. We didn't. It was hard to. Basically, our whittling pin fell out of our wobbling joint in the left front, and since that happened, you're relying a whole lot on your right front, and I didn't have enough right front. And it sucked. We was chattering. It was rolling over a lot. It was not as bad as I explain it. Is how it's not. It wasn't terrible, right? Like I didn't know something was broken or that wrong until I pulled in, right? Like I didn't know. And maybe that's, but like if some other driver was in it, they'd probably say, "Oh my God, what are you? Why are you know what I mean? This thing is." But I was like, "Well, I'm gonna finish the race. Like, what do you want me to do? Come in and y'all just open the hood and see what's wrong?" Like I'm not doing that shit. It ain't blowing up. Like we're fine. I'm not that slow. We're not dead. You know, I can keep up to the end of the pack or whatever. So, it was borderline. It was borderline creep at home. If that was a 150 lap race, I can say for sure I don't think it makes it. Thank God it was 125 laps. So is all I got to say because we ended up 13th out of it. However, even if things were, it would have been cool to have it. I think we had a chance for a top 10, honestly. The way that it felt before that, like I do, obviously, when there's only 14 or 15 finished in the race, it's pretty easy to say you had a chance for a top 10. But no doubt, it would have felt. I would be even happier with that for sure. But nonetheless, even though we had a failure, and that shit happens, I'm leaving this season pretty happy with that because we matched our season best last year with basically one start this year, or one finish this year. So I can that's something to hang our hat on, right? I don't know if me, without that year of racing experience last year, I don't think I finished that race this past Saturday. I think that I'm worried almost too much about the things I'm feeling. But after the amount of racing that I've went through, good and bad, the last year and a half, I've got to kind of, be more of a finisher, I guess you can say, and make do with what I got. I don't know if I would have had the mental fortitude to do so a year ago, because I'm going to be honest with you, that son of a bitch was very hard to not wreck the last 30 laps or so, and especially try not to be too damn slow, too. Whenever you got a car that you're trying to essentially not break down, you'd be surprised at how tense you drive that son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
You drive in every corner like, all right, I got to be ready for this son of a bitch to break at any moment. So it was a tense last several laps, but like I said, 13th, not a very impressive, strong 13th with a lot of passes and dominance by no stretch of the imagination, but happy with it. It still counts, and we're gonna build off of it. I didn't know before this race. I didn't really know how I felt about it. I was frustrated as shit about how my last race went before that. Didn't know if the effort to rebuild it and get everything ready would be worth it, to be honest with you. I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it'd be what I wanted to do or whatever, but I reminded myself very quickly of why this struggle is 100% worth it every time, and I will, I've got a lot left in me. I think most would probably assume that I'm kind of winding things down, but I feel like I'm just getting started. I was telling my guys that last night, that it's not we got a lot more to do over the coming years. I got a lot more fun to have, and I feel like I'm just kind of like, I'm knocking rust off in a way, but also like I'm kind of just getting started, for lack of better words. I don't mean that to sound like some kind of like motivational asshole, like I'm going to take the world over. Don't get me wrong. We still got our trials and tribulations to come, but I do think that hopefully if we get our 6, 7, 8 starts in next year, maybe we'll be a threat to go get us a top 10 or a top 5 at some point. I do feel like that's on the horizon. It's just a matter of getting some more starts out there and getting some good runs going. So before we move on too much about the off-season plans and next year and all that jazz, I think we ought to hop into the track ratings, the final one of the year. That way we'll have a full final list of this car store season. All right. One last rating of the year. Be North Wilkesboro Speedway. Earlier this season, North Wilkesboro got a 7.8, so pretty strong on the list, pretty high up there. We are right back into it. So let's start off with fun factor. Number 1, how fun was it to race? Could you pass? Was there a lot of strategy? I'll let you start this one off.
I'm going to give it a 7. I feel like so I'm a little conflicted on this because not to get too drawn into it, but me and you in doing this podcast this year have been a little more interested in the stats, right? Like the actual numbers of things. Like we've talked about lead changes and stuff like that, just for example.
Yeah.
This race had, I think, only 2 lead changes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually looked at it the other day. But I felt like the racing was better than it was in August.
I agree.
That had more lead changes.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we're merely going off of that, I would probably be higher. You know what I'm saying? But I guess from a fan aspect, you get people, oh, well, there wasn't no changes for the lead. Well, fucking, there's 27 other of us out there. Watch that racing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was good racing. And I do feel like there was a pretty good amount of racing and passing from 3rd, 4th on back. At least I know from what me and you saw, because like we already touched on, there was people getting, I'd say, quarter turn left and right. It felt like full send. So, but I'm just going to go on that because I don't really feel like, even though me and you saw pit road a lot, that there was a lot of strategy for say. Like I feel like the new Wilkesboro, and I feel like it's going to be that way. I'm going to say for at least another 2 years is going to be throw them up on the dash and let her eat. It's got so much grip. It's so fast. Things are happening so fast. You're basically driving your car off in the corner and asking it to do something that it physically probably shouldn't be able to do, so to speak.
Yeah.
And as me and you talk, kind of from a driver standpoint, feels like shit. But that would be my score on it, be a 7. What about you?
Yeah, I think 7's fair. If I didn't run like shit, I would give it a higher score, and that's easy to say, right? Because I think Carson Quaffle and Connor Jones would probably say it was a damn 10 because they looked like they was having a blast. They was driving
ripping the fence
wide open, right up on the fence. That's about the only 2 cars that could do it.
Is that going to be your goal for the Wilkesboro race next year?
I would love to. I would love to be in that position for sure.
No, I'm saying you're going to tell the boys, guys, I don't care where we race or where we finish, but I want to be able to run 2 inches off that fence.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to run 2 inches off the fence for sure. That looked very fun, but that wasn't necessarily the case for me. I didn't get to experience all of that. However, it looked, I did have a good time. It's always a fun racetrack, even when I wasn't in a, wasn't in a great position. I was still, reminding myself to, enjoy it. And it's, you don't get this opportunity, might not get this opportunity again or whatever. So, very long-winded, but I'm going right with you. 7. 7, I think, is fair. I definitely, I'd like to give it an 8 or 9, but I just think it needs a couple more years of wear. I think the modified tires actually kind of added a little bit of a strategy and stuff to it to a certain degree, but yeah, just didn't really have that. It doesn't have. The problem with us rating this track now is we've already experienced it worn out. So we're always going to know that the potential of this racetrack is unbelievable whenever it's worn out. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be not good. The racing was great the other night, but it's just, it's a little bit different strategy wise, fun factor for me. I'm a worn out racetrack guy, and I would, if North Wilkesboro had Florence's
oh my god, it'd be a hell of
asphalt, I would that track would be an 11. But for now it's a 7. Right on the track atmosphere. This time fan turnout, events, promotions, and track side. So fan turnout and events. So obviously this is an October race. It's late in the year, a little bit cooler out. I wouldn't say, me personally speaking, I wouldn't say I've seen the fan turnout that I would like to see out there. I think that some of that has to do with ticket pricing in that area, especially an area that is not swimming in money, and you're not bringing in NASCAR fans for this. You're bringing late model and short track racing fans for this event, and I think they have to know that.
Do you think
forward.
that was the mindset they were still in?
Yeah.
They were in the May mindset, even though we went back in August, but they were still in the All-Star Week mindset.
I think the track may get the short track racing fans mixed up with NASCAR fans. I think that is their issue right now that they could fix pretty easily. And one of those ways is find a way to get ticket prices down. Find a way to get free tickets administered. Find a way to reward people throughout the community that provide help, outreach, or whatever, a way to get tickets free or at a discounted rate. Getting the community involved was the reason the racetrack got back to the way that it is. And the way to keep the community involved is make it affordable and make them feel involved and bring them around, reward them with tickets, reward them, give people, especially these races where it ain't sold out and you don't have to worry about selling out. There's a lot of stands. You're not going to sell 40,000 late model stock tickets. I don't think. Not unless it's the first ever time at North Wilkesboro and it's 2022. The asphalt's old. The walls are old. We don't know if the facility's coming down or not. That's about the only outlier, right? It's different now. We got to know that. We got to adapt and change. We got to know that we can't always rely on the mystique and the relying on the tradition and the mystique of North Wilkesboro is the reason it got closed down. We thought it was invincible and that it would never lose dates, but it did. And it can happen again if you're not careful. And I think the easiest way to keep people there, keep the seats full, keep people loving that track and wanting to be a part of it and wanting to see who wins there and making it special is keeping those stands full. And that doesn't mean make the tickets hard to get and overly priced. I'm not saying $40-$50 a ticket is too much, but it's damn
Is that
close.
what it was? That's what I was going to ask. What was it this past weekend? Do you know off the top of your head?
So the tickets are $30, which you pointed out. It is. You are seeing 3 races. Are those tickets not good for Sunday?
For the tour race? I
Yeah.
don't think so, no.
Okay.
I don't think they would have been.
So basically the point, I'm not saying that $30 is too expensive for a ticket or 40 or 30, whatever it is. I know it can be cheaper for seniors and all that and kids. I get it. And I know you have to make some money on tickets, but my point is not necessarily the price of the ticket. It's maybe we administer tickets to the community a little bit more willingly than just trying to make money off the community. You want to sell tickets to NASCAR fans that are traveling in to experience North Wilkesboro and experience tourism and do the whole deal. I get it. You make that $30 per head on those 5 to 10,000 tickets potentially. That's a lot of revenue. I get it, but I just feel like maybe there's a way, maybe there's some kind of incentive program or loyalty or just community outreach in general, for the tour or for for the track itself. I feel like there's an avenue somewhere. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying like it's when you got a cold race that is at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you need to fill the seats up a little bit better than that. I think maybe that's an option at least, and I think that also can create more lifelong fans at the same time if you're giving away some tickets and making people excited to. And I'm not saying give away. I'm saying like people that come volunteer or do stuff in the community or whatever. Like if you're, maybe some churches that are doing stuff, you go help them out and give them some. I don't know, just a thought. And I just wanted to bring that up because it was a topic of conversation for sure. The amount of people in the stands. Now, we also have to mention the amount of people that them stands can hold, right? It's bigger than what we're used to. So filling up a couple rows of that is more people than it may necessarily look like. It's going to fill up a local short track for sure, but maybe not necessarily North Wilkesboro, right? So something you have to take into account too.
I think what you touched on too, like what I think folks need to, and none of us are meteorologists, right? I mean, it's Mother Nature, and good Lord willing. So, if that race is this week, I would say potentially a little like the weather. It's going to be warmer.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be warmer.
Like I mean, it was almost 80 degrees here today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, And I think what kept some people away, and no different now that I talk about that than Saturday, right? So by the time that Cars Tour pits opened on Saturday, which was 2 o'clock, which was fantastic, I really liked the schedule this past weekend. I was a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was mid 70s, maybe even upper 70s, right? But when that sun got behind them bleachers, son, it
dropped.
it dropped quickly, and that's Wilkes County for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to happen. So I think maybe one thing to consider next year, because I am a fan and I am pro, for Wilkesboro being the championship race. I think it was a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
You felt that like prestige to it, right? Of like it being the championship night, but it also being North Wilkesboro.
Yeah. Also, it's probably not going to have the mods next. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was
going to say.
It's also that. Like, we have to. I keep forgetting that too. Like that adds a wrinkle.
Something should be ran Friday night if you're going to do that. Like, I think because like.
Oh,
if you're,
like
take for
you
you,
said,
for example.
Yeah.
You've got a wife and a little boy. If you're taking him to a race, if you weren't running this race, so let's just say we're talking from a race fan's perspective right here. You're not going to want to have your child or youngster out there for a 9 p.m. start that, keep in mind, per usual for us, ended up being, I think, around 10.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, by that time, it was like 44 degrees, man.
And also Friday night, I think you should, I think maybe we don't have to have like a prelim race or something. If we're going to try to sell, I don't think maybe they didn't care if they sold tickets for that night or not. But I think like if you want to have a Friday night party deal, I think maybe you got to have either a mini stock championship race or something, or a concert or something maybe.
Yeah,
I get.
Or like I said,
it's
I mean, this
October,
weekend,
but
running all three, somebody could have ran Friday night.
Yeah, maybe we probably could have made something happen then. Now, it's all in hindsight's 2020, right? But it's just I want to perfect this place because I want it to run for the next 1,000 years. Like legitimately, I'm not saying I could run it better. I just want to if there's something that I say that potentially could help, and it works, I'm all in. I'm just offering any kind of advice. But I do think any kind of community stuff could be a big help. Now, all that was set up for our second rating, which is track atmosphere, and that was me setting up the fact that it wasn't the same as it had been before, right? This has probably been a 10 before.
Yeah.
Fan turnout, events, promotions, and trackside, it just wasn't necessarily the same, I think, in all of those categories. Other than the trackside campers looked like they were popping. I heard about a lot of party stories going on up there and good stuff.
Dude, that was full. I mean, it was pretty cool to come off turn 2 and see about 25 campers.
And relatively, I think a decent price too. I think it was $400 a night for those spots. Now, there's no power or water hookup or nothing, so that's kind of a bummer. But unbelievable view. But real shitty alarm clock. Those ground pounders fly by your head with a huge headache in the morning. That would suck. For sure.
Yeah,
but
if anybody did what we did after the checkered flag dropped Saturday night and went till we went, they hated the fact that tour mods hit the racetrack about 10 a.m.
Somebody up there in those RVs forgot the tour mods were coming the next day for sure. There's no way. I guarantee somebody did. Which is
might have been Jay Hedgecock if he stayed. My good old Chatsman. What the hell's going on out here?
Racket. So track atmosphere this time around, I'm going to still look at the fact there was a lot of fans there. By just our autograph session, you could tell there's still a lot of people there. We signed a ton
I thought it was
of autographs.
Tunnel.
Like,
I made a Sharpie go out. I mean, a brand new Sharpie, wore it straight out of
there was a lot of people there. It sounds like we're trying you know what I mean? It's just we're just nitpicky little podcaster boys, but there was a lot of people there. It's just maybe there wasn't 30,000 like the past couple of deals.
Like you said, man, I think me and you, we're always going to be ruined, right? Because
we got to experience.
We got to be a part of the first one. That was 30,000 people.
Yeah.
So there
was no better experience than that as far as fan turnout and asphalt and the whole deal. So anyway, track atmosphere this time, I'm going to stick with a 7. And
I'm going to be right there with you.
So a pair of 7s first two. Let's move right on to facilities. So lighting, infrastructure, eye appeal, infield elbow room, spotter stands. This place potentially keeps getting better. I mean, I wouldn't say they've necessarily added a whole lot. The only damn thing it's missing is video boards. I think we've got to have some...
Video boards and concessions need to get better.
Well, that's a
in my
different
opinion.
category. But
Yeah, no, I was just talking about where you said them adding.
oh
I
yeah.
was just
Well,
tying that in real quick.
but
So yeah,
yes,
but yeah,
the
me and you are a
video
huge
boards.
gripe. That's got to fucking happen.
We just need some kind of video board. I mean, one would be suffice. But it's a big old racetrack and it's way down in the hole, and we don't know what's going on. A lot of times throughout, it's just, and
Like
we're
my pit
all
crew, we were in NASCAR. Well, we were at entry to pit road, so like middle of turn 3 and 4, where our
yeah.
pit stall was. I think you were front stretch, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
So like right there before the start finish line, I think, right? Weren't you?
a little bit closer to turn 4 than that, but yeah,
So like your team probably could see the turn 1 though, right?
barely. Yeah, but
So
yeah.
mine, is around the bend more,
Mm-hmm.
and that end does kink kind of weird, so to speak. Like it kind of comes out and then comes back in, goes with the racetrack.
Yeah,
Well, so when we had that big wreck, they heard the spotter
yeah,
saying it. They're like, "What the hell's going on?"
right.
Like what was it? So, I mean, and me and you've talked about that. Even going there in May and watching the races, like it would be fantastic to have a video board.
Yeah, I think we just need, I think just like they did last year when they had it up in turns 3 and 4. I think they need to go back to that, and then I also think they should add one over either on the back stretch or maybe even on the somewhere near the pylon, or I don't really know. I just feel like something somewhere would be really nice
I think
I feel like they have those resources, right? Like they're available. They have so
it's
many
SMI.
racetracks. Yeah, like they
I mean,
have that available. So
let's
I
not
think
forget the
it's
monstrosity that's at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
right. Like those assets are out there, and I do think it would make a huge difference in the fan experience, especially when there's still to this day no signal. No matter what they say, there ain't no damn signal, and you can't. Every now and then, all of a sudden, you'll just get signal, or you'll sneak on somebody's Starlink or whatever, which is the case for me. So I could watch the Tennessee game, Go Vols 24/17. But anyways, facilities. The only thing they're missing is video boards, I think. Everything else is still pristine. The lighting there is badass. The infrastructure all looks great. Eye appeal, everything looks good. Like we've always talked about, they kept it vintage. It still has that badass pylon with the old video board on it. They still have. Did you notice they were flipping our signboard when we were racing this time though?
Flipping the sign. What do you mean?
Like the old school signboard, they were flipping laps and doing the top 5.
Oh no, I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, that's how I kept up with what lap it was. I was watching him, not the big scoreboard. Swear to God, you could see it. I was watching the
That's
whole time.
badass.
He
Though.
was switching
Which
that
now,
bitch.
now that you brought that up, though, they did that during the truck race and everything, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they do
did
it.
that one.
But they
Yeah.
didn't do it during ours the last couple of years, or earlier this year or last year. Since they've had that new signboard, they didn't do it for us. They would just leave up the cup starting lineup and shit.
Right.
But this time
That's
I watched
cool.
this some
I did not
changing
know
it.
that.
I noticed it while during caution laps. He's up there changing. I'm like, damn. That says 03. Oh, that's ours. That's our score. So I was all in. So that's how I was keeping up with laps. I
That's
could
cool.
see. I was literally the last 15 laps. Dad's radio was going down, so I didn't have a spotter, and I did just very briefly, and I would just count. That's how I was counting laps. I was watching the old buddy over there. By the time I was a little bit behind the old leader, so he was doing work while I was going by. I would catch the tail end of it, and I would know what lap was coming anyway. So that was neat. So that did make up for a little bit of it. So I'm still, even though they're missing video boards, I'm still gonna go with a strong 9 on facilities.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm right there with you, right? I mean, it's like you said, it's tough to nitpick. I am also a little biased. Like the suites we were in for the driver autograph session. Very proud of the company that I work for. We've made that place look really good, and we had a lot to do with that particular suite. We had a lot to do with all the suites, but we had a lot to do with that one in particular. Really nice countertops that we all signed at, and countertop tables and everything. And you talk about view. I mean, like from right there, I would honestly say if you weren't somebody that wanted to have that, loud pounding, feel the vibrations and the whole thing at the
I would love
racetrack.
to watch a race in that suite for
Yeah,
sure.
sitting there, yeah, that would be the spot. So
The only thing wasn't open during our race though.
that's probably a good reason.
Yeah, but still, I heard they didn't have that part open. That was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that takes a lot to sell that whole thing up. So So do you stick right there with me with a 9?
Yeah, I'm a 9.
Okay, so
I'm a 9.
So it's a pair of 7s and a 9, and then we got bathrooms and concessions. So I will go on record to say this, and this is unbelievable.
Uh-oh.
I did not use the bathroom at North Wilkesboro the entire time because we had a porta potty near ours.
Porter Johns. Yeah, I split, so I got to be honest with you there.
I didn't have my bike, didn't want to walk, so F it.
Yeah.
I went to the porta potty every time. I was right near my shit, so I was good.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. And so I will say this though, please, North Wilkesboro, if you or anybody watches this, because in August they did not do that.
Yeah. They must have hurt us.
Yeah, in May they have them. Well, even in May, there's 3 times the amount.
Yeah, I think we bitched about that though in August. I think we on the podcast.
Yeah. So I had some, I think there was 3 trailers in between us and about a row of 8 of them, and really clean. So appreciate everybody this weekend. Tire guys must have stayed out of them and just went and blew up the actual shitter, because every porta-john I went in was actually pretty damn clean. So so that was nice.
I didn't gag as soon as I walked in them, so it was nice enough.
Yeah. But I did go use the actual bathroom too. It just all kind of depended on where I was at, in the infield.
Yeah, I didn't go use that bathroom or in concessions. I did. Mom brought me something from that food truck or something, I guess.
I did not eat anything from there. I had plenty to eat in the trailer.
So their bathrooms have always been nice and sufficient. They have plenty of stalls, plenty of urinals. Didn't hear any complaints. I heard of a couple of crew members going and doing the business a couple of times, and they said everything went well. So I have to say, with that being said, you can't really hate on it. I'm just going to kind of go middle of the road here and just give them a 7, just because they do have all working locks. It's air conditioned. It smells fine in there. There's never a bad, line or anything in that area. They have porta-johns available. There's a food truck available. Yeah. Can't really hate on that, man. I'm going to give them a 7.
Yeah, I'm with you. My only gripe to it would be, I'm going to give it a 7 as well. But my only thing would be, so even take this weekend. I think it's hard to have 3 touring series there. And keep in mind, and yes, and I'm sure there's going to be some people who say this. And keep in mind, I'm saying this because I'm fortunate that my crew, all of us pitch in and bring food to the racetrack. No different than you, Dylan. But if there's people who maybe are just, scrapping by to have whatever crew help they can have that weekend or whatever, or thrash to get a car done, the last thing that might be on their mind is eating. Hell, who knows the last time they did if they're trying to get a car finished up. But
you don't need to be a goddamn Wilkesboro if you're working that fucking hard.
But
if you're thrashing that damn hard, damn.
Yeah. But I think if you got 3 touring series there, we need more than 1 food truck. Because I did see a mighty long line over there. That's all I'm saying. Never heard anybody complain about the food itself. Matter of fact,
man, I wish people would. I wish we would. It would be nice if we what if we had 3 food trucks with 3 different options?
Yeah, I'm just saying, just to give people, and if it ends up being still that there's fucking 25 people in line at 1 food truck,
I'm fine with it.
Then whatever. Guess what?
I'll go shit out burro tacos all day if I have to. So. Surrounding area. This is the one usually that is an outlier amongst all outliers. The home of the Wilkesboro Flu. The home of the Wilkesboro Stunner. The home
I'll still go.
of the Sugar
I'll
Shack.
Go first.
The Neon Shack. The Third Turn Speedway. Some of the most legendary nights in the history of the mountains of western North Carolina. The surrounding area of North Wilkesboro, 1 to 10. Between food, nightlife, hotels, shit to do. Only thing we're missing is hotels in Wilkesboro, baby. We got a lot of food, a lot of nightlife, and a lot of shit to do. And ain't none of it open for business.
There's 10 acres over there that makes for a damn good hotel.
If you know, you know. Surrounding area, 10.0.
Yep.
10.0. Anytime you get my ass to stay up past 2 or 3 a.m. multiple nights in a row, I like that place. And that's not saying enough, really. It's home. It's most fun you can have and not go to prison. And it's one of the it's one of the greatest greatest places and greatest experiences you can really ever imagine having. And I don't know why that is. There's nothing special about it. It's just an old shitty garage, old hill, old family's land. But the people that come in there is what makes it the place that it is. And I think that over the past few years, I haven't done a lot of things good, but I have picked a pretty good crowd of people to hang around with, and we always have a good time. And I think it's worth noting that there's not been many bad times had at the Neon Shack, Sugar Shack, whatever you want to call it. And it's always, I'm always. It goes by so fast that you miss it soon. You know what I mean? Like it's here. You're looking forward to it all year, and then it's here and it's gone. Right? And
Yep.
And it's not just about the damn drinking and partying. We've talked about it's hard to run a race. First of all, before anybody wants to talk any shit about drinking and stuff after driving a race car or whatever, or trying to get prepared for the next day, let me just lay this down for you. First of all, on Friday night, at about 9 o'clock on the Eastern Seaboard, or 7 o'clock, whatever it was, we were laying down qualifying laps going Mach fuck into turns 1 and turn 3 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It takes a damn beer or 10 to calm a sumbitch down that's 28 years old and got some bills to pay, all right? So, from the hours of 8:30 p.m. until about 2 a.m., I might have had a couple beers, right? And that's okay. If that's what floats your goat, let her eat. But yeah, we did have a good time. And nonetheless, surrounding area 10.0. Brandon, did you score it already?
Yeah, yeah.
Double 10?
I said 10 right up.
Double 10, buckshot. What's the final score? Okay, final score after the quick math. 8.0. North Wilkesboro finishes the year off with a solid 8.0, which I believe puts her in P2 right behind Langley, right? Doesn't Langley have a...
I think so, yep. That's what I'm trying to find.
There it is. Yeah. Langley 8.6, Wilkesboro 8.0, or 8.3. So I was early. Wilkesboro's score from earlier this year was 8.3. This time it was 8.0. So
yeah,
went down a little bit. Obviously, that was probably the which rating scale got it? The track atmosphere one. I think that's what brought her down. It was probably a 9 or 10 last time. This time it was 7. So you'll have that. Brings her down a little bit. Still in the 8s. Still an elite racetrack. There's only 2 tracks that's this season that's been in the 8s, and that's Wilkesboro and Langley. I'll go ahead and run through the whole list. So final standings, Season 2 Big Time Auto Racing rating scale is as follows. In last place for the second year in a row is Caraway at 6.0. Up next, Orange County Speedway, 6.2. Right after that, Ace, 6. How many tracks is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different tracks? Is that correct?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
So it's go at 10th place, Caraway. 9th place, Orange County, 6.2. Then Ace at a 6.4. And then we jump up to the 7s. Hickory at a 7.2. And then we got Southern National with a 7.3. Tri-County, 7.6. New River, 7.7. Dominion, 7.8. And then we jump up into the 8s. Yeah, we got Langley and Wilkesboro. Where is Florence at? Oh,
yeah,
8.4. No, Florence is 8.4. Sorry, Wake 7.2. Yeah. I missed a couple. Ace 2.0 was a 6.7, so Ace jumped up after the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I missed a couple, so it's actually 13 here. Anyways, Wilkesboro finishes with an 8.3. 8.0 this time, 8.3 first time, so we average that out to what, a 8.1?
Yeah.
8.2, whatever. We'll call it a 8.2. So I like this season's rating scale better because I do feel like that list from top to bottom, once I actually organize it,
pretty fair.
I feel like that's pretty much how we view these racetracks as far as which ones I would necessarily pick to go to on a weekly basis.
Dylan's a huge fan of Caraway.
I don't mind Tearaway. I didn't race there this year. You're the one that rated it. You the one who gave it a 6.0. Don't damn put that evil on me. I liked Tearaway last year. Remember, I was like, damn, I had fun. I don't know what, but
The second one, not the first one.
yeah, the first one I didn't even race. The second one was actually a decent time until I lost a tire. But like we always say, these rating scales are kind of just built on whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily. Tearaway's a fun racetrack, nonetheless. It just an old racetrack that probably needs some upgrades here and there. Wilkesboro's got a couple $1 million poured into it. That's why it's 8.3. So if Tearaway gets them about a $5 million grant, they'll be able to get a couple points on the big time auto racing scale. So that is definitely what their life goal is, I'm sure. Yep. So, yeah, but a lot of tracks on here. We had Andrew Grady come on, and he rated the Southern National episode, and we got a 7.3 there. Interestingly enough, Landon Huffman a week later at New River, 7.7. Those guys, not the greatest of friends. Maybe they've made up by now. I don't know. But Orange County was low on the list this year. The schedule is supposed to be coming out soon. We got word the drivers' meeting schedule coming soon.
Yep.
Are we going to see tracks gone?
That's what I've heard.
We're going to see some tracks be gone. We're going to see some new tracks added, supposedly. We're hovering between. Do we know how many dates it's going to be? Is that announced yet? Or how many races it's going to be is not announced yet? I guess we don't know for sure. Probably about. But either ways.
No, I was told for sure 15 dates.
Okay.
15 races, yeah.
Nice. So 15 races for sure.
Yeah.
And we are, I heard it in the meeting. I just didn't know if that was a comp, but I'm assuming it don't really matter. But we do, hopefully the schedule comes out this week or next week. I mean, I feel like it's got to be soon, right?
You'd hope.
It's gonna learn a lot. I feel like we're gonna have to have probably an episode to recap, to talk about the new schedule. I'm sure that'll arise some issues and whatever, and some comments and concerns, and we'll need to talk about it. I'm sure
we're gonna have to have one next week anyway.
Got
a pretty big thing happening this weekend, and it's Halloween.
Yeah. I was thinking for some reason I was thinking we had already talked about this on the podcast, and you informed me directly that. Actually, we have, but it was only about practice day. So tell the people, if they haven't already seen on the press release today, what in the hell you're doing this weekend.
I'm going to go bang gears in a Mazda MX-5. So really, really excited about the opportunity that Chad McCummey and everybody at McCummey McAleer Racing has given me the opportunity to go and make my Mazda MX-5 debut. It's definitely... being a possibility strongly because of the fact of where the race is taking place, which is going to be the debut of an oval race for that series. And obviously a track that I've got a lot of laps at. It's not been overly kind to me in a late model. It has been a couple times, but not of late, of course. But man, I'm telling you, the test day back in August, that's some of the most fun I've had in a race car. They are a ton of fun to drive, and it's gonna be different, man.
If you've got enough nuts to just show back up and race, then it had to be pretty fucking fun. I mean, it's Martinsville, so it's gonna be fun to drive, but give you credit where credit's due. To show up in a completely different discipline and have to shift and the whole different deal. I mean, it had to have been fun for you to go back and race. So I definitely believe you.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people. My phone's blown up quite a bit today. We're surprised. I kept it pretty close, as far as who I let know about it. I was pretty determined and sure after the test and after Chad talking to me and wanting me to race that I was going to race, but of course, kept it kind of on the down low because obviously we were smack dab in the middle of a car store season. So, but yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It's obviously a completely different arena of racing for me. Kudos to these guys, all of them. I mean, really just IMSA and sports car racing in general. I mean, it's always interested me. I just haven't really ever had the opportunity or went to do it because we're short track racers, so that doesn't really fall into that forte. But when you merge these two together like they're going to do this weekend, somebody like myself, yeah, I mean, it got my attention. So just really fortunate to have the opportunity to go and give it a try, and the test went really well, and that kind of got both parties thinking, and Chad wanted to have me back, and so we were able to put some funding together to go and do it. So not to mention it's cool too to have another shot, in a calendar year at a grandfather clock. So it's grandfather clock up for grabs and 25,000 to win is so hopefully maybe we can go in there and get us a clock this weekend.
There's not too many people on the planet that get a chance to race for a clock twice a year. There's actually probably less than 100, and that's all the Cup drivers and a handful of Xfinity drivers that run the Cup in an Xfinity race.
Yeah,
and maybe the truck driver that runs the Cup in Xfinity. So, and then you and Landon Lewis. So, so pretty small list, man. So that's pretty cool to say that, and I'm excited for you. I wish I could go watch. I got work to do, unfortunately. I actually planned on going to see it, but I guess I'll tune in on the YouTube. If this goes well, any chances in hell you'll go try a road course?
Those conversations have been had.
Yeah. If you happen to get a test day and you need somebody to go shake her down for you,
you're all in.
I know a guy. He looks just like me, but in case he wrecks, I can't say it's me. No, I would wreck like hell. But honestly, I was actually thinking if you run good, you'd probably have to at least try it, right?
Those conversations have been had.
Same concept, getting around the little paperclip corners like that. I mean, that's why AJ Allmendinger was good there. You know what I mean? Like,
road course guy. So, and I will say so far, and like I said, obviously I'll be seeing a lot of those people for the second time only this weekend, but everybody in that, area of racing super welcoming, to myself and even Landon. I think some of it was because we're the oval guys coming into their world, but in our world,
Right.
it's their forte of cars, but in our forte as far as style of racing. So all I can tell you is about that. Any of you that have ever tuned in and seen it, or if you haven't and you're bored tonight, or you're hearing this podcast and like, man, I want to look that up, I highly recommend you do, because every single one of them guys that does the Mazda MX-5s has got a set on them, because I'm telling you, they race the absolute pure hell out of each other. Not dirty, just, hard racing, and getting after it every lap. And it is some absolutely fantastic racing. And as me and Dylan said, this is the only race this weekend that's ever on an oval. So these guys are doing this on road courses, and it's pretty incredible what they're able to do. And I'm just I'm really excited to go, and I guess as the old timer saying goes, gets thrown to the wolves this weekend and see where we stack up.
Yeah, man. Well, it's worth a shot. I think you got a lot of nuts on you to even just go try the damn thing. I think even finishing the race, I think, would be nice. But honestly, at the end of the day, it'd be I wouldn't be surprised. Laps. I wouldn't be surprised to go see you do really good. So I think you got it in you. We'll be pulling like hell for you. But going on, aside from that, you got a Florence race coming up. What is that? November 16th. So we don't. Not a whole lot of racing left this year, folks. Oh wait, when is the Florence?
You coming to that?
When's the car sport banquet?
November 16th.
Oh, no, hell no.
Come on.
I might come to the after party or something. But we're in 2 races.
We are the party.
I partied too hard before the party last time, and last time I just kind of sat there like this.
And got the cookie tray?
Yeah.
The Florence race is November 23rd.
Oh. Well, I had the wedding weekend confused then. It's the 16th.
Well, sounds like you're going to Florence.
All right. I was wrong. It's November 20th. Is that not Thanksgiving? No, that's 28th.
Following. Yeah. And I am not going to the Thanksgiving Classic. Sorry, Michael Diaz. I'm not going.
I'll be deer hunting. Sir.
Yeah.
Be deer hunting.
That's what I was about to. I thought that's where you were leading into this. So, yes, folks, we've still got some races left. We have a banquet, and me and Dylan's got some deer hunting to do. And by some, I mean a lot.
A lot of deer hunting. I don't know. We kind of stripped my car down last night and got everything, all of our loaner parts taken off of it, and returned to the rightful owners and everything that we needed to make Wilkesboro. And In that process, we got to brainstorming about some potential opportunities for the end of the season, and I kind of nipped that in the bud and said, man, I got a lot of shit that I need to like handle on the race car, both interior and, there's a lot of shit I need to do. So I can say pretty positively that I'm shutting our program down for the year.
No fall brawl.
No fall brawl. That is opening day of muzzleloader, so I'm out on that regardless. I've heard some rumors on Hickory though. A lot of rumors. I've heard a lot of asphalt rumors.
What it is.
I don't want to break the news because I don't want to. We have a platform that's arguably big enough somebody could get mad, but I have heard a lot of rumors about potential asphalt changes at the Hickory Motor Speedway and some other very substantial upgrades around the facilities that I think people could be very excited about. And I think that is for the greater good of racing, is Hickory Motor Speedway being successful and prospering. As much as some people hate to say that, it is kind of the epicenter of where everything's at. Everybody kind of in this area, there's a lot of careers and drivers and rental opportunities at Hickory Motor Speedway that relies on the advancement of that racetrack, and there could be a lot of things coming. So I'm excited for 2025 at Hickory. Hopefully hopefully everything is in the works. That everything that I've heard is actually in the works. So I'm not gonna say anything until I know definitive proof or whatever. I haven't got that, but
right.
It does seem like they are making substantial upgrades to both the racing surface and the facilities. So, little tidbit info. Other little thing. What else happened in the Cars Tour Saturday? Anything big happen? Any big stories? I mean, other than Butterbean winning the championship, Connor coming up a spot short as far as in the championship
big
standings.
Things that happened there, or us talking about
let's see.
news?
Did Brent Cruz won Rookie of the Year? I guess he beat out Trayton for that.
Cade Brown's going RNS.
Cade Brown announced going RNS these last couple of days. I think he essentially announced that at the racetrack, but
yeah, he showed up with some fresh embroidery.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, so it was a fun day though. We had a good I was actually intending on going deer hunting Saturday morning, and that fell through because of Brandon. Brandon,
no bullshit,
kept me up too late, and that if I would have hunted on Saturday morning, I would have been so tired for that race after watching the 30 hours of modifieds and pros.
That was terrible.
Yeah, after watching that, it would have been rough. But glad I didn't do that and let my body rest a little bit because I needed it after depleting my liver the night before, for sure. But at the grand scheme of things, it was a successful North Wilkesboro weekend. We had a good time. We had pretty decent results, honestly, both of us for the first time. I would say I would be a lot happier if we was both in the top 10, but I'm glad you got in top 10. I was right there close. I survived and almost inherited one, but either way, it's a good place to do it. You're still racing against the best in the damn world when you go there. So anytime you say you're at North Wilkesboro and you damn got yourself in the top half of the field, that's something to hang your hat on the championship night of the hardest damn racing series in the country that you can anybody can go race. So it was a cool night for us all, and the after party was good. We had a good time Saturday night. We even we've talked about this before. It's hard to calm down, right? But god dang,
yeah. I'm not talking about that.
But we gotta ease up on these sunsets. Having a beer or two after the race is good, but you know the deal. It'll make you tired, and I think if you know, it just happens. There's something in the air there.
Put it this way, folks. We stayed up until we ran the propane out of the tank.
I had some. Oh, Thursday Night Thunder tomorrow night. World Championship. Thursday Night Thunder World Championship tomorrow night. I know it's kind of short notice, but we haven't had a chance to do anything. The hurricane happened. We had a rain out, and then the hurricane happened a week later. And the hurricane affected, a lot of people in the area. And
it's hurting.
And it made it to where we haven't been able to race and do anything. And then we was racing Wilkesboro last weekend and didn't have time to go down there and work it. So championship night is tomorrow or Thursday what is it? The 23rd, fourth Thursday, the 24th. So if you're listening to this now, racing tonight, and we are crowning a champion. To be a champion, I think this is the format. Now, I don't know if this is exactly how it's going to run, but this is how it probably should be done, because this is my idea. The champion will be crowned in a race that is made up of only guys that have won a race at Third Turn Speedway this year. That way,
does that mean Moonhead is making an appearance?
Moonhead is in the championship race, or at least the championship. He has a chance to make it in. There's been more than 8 winners, I believe, so that will put us to someone's going to be sent home in the championship race. Now, before the championship race will kind of be the last event, obviously. We're going to start the night off with the normal Thursday Night Thunder race. That way, anybody new has a chance to make it in the championship race. Just think, you could have never raced. You could show up for your first Thursday Night Thunder race tomorrow and win a damn championship if you wanted to. And that includes a trophy, a banner, a name, the whole deal.
And then my luck, win it, and there goes another 3 a.m. at the Sugar Shack.
100%. So there's a lot of opportunity in there tomorrow night, everybody. I'm just saying that it's you can become a champion on your inaugural night. We've had some very cool guests come race at these tracks. I ain't gonna never announce them. You'll just have to come and find out who they are when you get there. We've had a good time. We've taken about a month off. It's been a while, so we'll have to get back in the flow of things to start off with. But starting off with a normal race. Then after the normal race, we'll probably do some type of Rookie of the Year race where essentially someone who hasn't won a main event all year, only people who hasn't won is eligible to win the Rookie of the Year race, which would be cool, a separate banner on its own. And and then obviously we'll have championship racing, and then which the rookie winner will also be eligible for. By the way, once he won, I don't know about that actually. We might look into that. I'll go over everything. I'm not exactly sure on the layout yet. We're still working on it, but yes, it is going to be championship night tomorrow night, Thursday Night Thunder. Same kind of format as normal, same laps and everything, except for the championship race. We're going to do a little bit extended, make it more fun, a little bit more policed and more normal racing style. That'll be the only time we do that.
Right.
Everything else will be kind of police it yourself. If you want to race like shit, then y'all can race like shit. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all want to race like shit, go out there and race like shit, and y'all can finish in the, that's fine. But if you want to race good, I'll damn help you race good. I'll throw cautions. I'll keep y'all close. I'll do it right. But if you race like shit, you're racing like shit. That's on you. That's my rule. So, and it's the easiest, most effective one. So, yeah, that'll be fun tomorrow night. We get to crown a champion, so that's something to look forward to. And then we, after that, we'll be doing a lot of deer hunting and a couple of these late season races. I got a couple of videography gigs and stuff. I'll be kind of bouncing around from racetracks, so I might see some of you guys there. But for the most part, man, it's been a fun year, and I've had a good time doing this. I haven't obviously raced all this year, so it's been weird doing a podcast and not racing. There has been times where I didn't really know if there was a point in me doing it, but some of you guys remind me every week when I do show up to a racetrack of why I need to continue doing it, because a lot of you listen to it more than I expect, I guess, and it's cool to hear some of you guys sympathize with it. Some of you guys just think it's funny as shit that we sit there and make fun of ourselves for an hour and a half. So, because that's essentially what it is. But yeah, we always appreciate it, but more than we appreciate all you damn tire guys and all you other nasty son bitches, we definitely appreciate GeoCut Laser and Powder at geocutfabrication.com. You can go there. You can order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse. Fast lead times, no minimum orders. And that is geocutfabrication.com. There's all sorts of good stuff you can go find there. We are big fans of the smudge pots or orchard heaters is what they are actually called. We have they're badass. I have been known to call them rocket stoves, but I know a lot of you people have seen the Connor Jones Trophy from Tri-County, and everybody loved it because it has his name engraved in there and also or the logo. It's super badass. I think the team ordered a bunch of them as their own. So you can do that even. You can order a custom team, Imagine having a smudge pot out there in front of the camper that says, Big Time Auto Racing or whatever your logo and your team is, and you're keeping you warm, and also the cars ain't blowing the flame out when they fly by, and it's still keeping you warm, that's a big deal. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. There was fire pits up there. These are awesome for late racing. So, like, now's the time to get one. He's probably going to get backed up. So, if you want to put an order in, tell him Big Time Auto Racing sent you, and he's going to get you hooked up, get you one. I know he's got a lot of orders going on. The man's got stuff to do, but I'm telling you, now's the time to get one. That way the cars, when they buzz by you, they don't blow them off. And also, when your drunk buddy trips, he don't burn his face off. It'll help with that scenario too. So, big shout out GeoCut Fabrication for being a part of our podcast all year long and continuing to support us. He got to come hang out at the Sugar Shack the other night. Yeah, that was. You got to see him hang out for a little bit. Obviously, he gets to come to all the races and stuff, so it's good to get to hang out with Adam, and hopefully we'll get him on this show one day and hang out. Maybe the season recap would be perfect for that, and let him come talk a little junk and let us know what he's seen from his perspective up there. He's got the bird's eye view up there, so he's definitely seen some shit this year. So we'll get the inside scoop from him. Maybe bring him on here this later this season and do some kind of off-season shenanigans. As far as everything else goes, like me and Moonhead are working on some stuff with Neon Moon. We're gonna do some kind of random, shows here and there. I think we've talked about. I know I've had people ask me where that went. The same people that listen to Big Time, and then got plans. I think there's a lot of opportunity over the next couple of years on the horizon as far as between Wilkesboro and between race teams and whatever else that I'm kind of doing with my career. Just being transparent and being on a podcast and stuff like that is kind of makes it worth it in a way. I feel like it's a good way to kind of talk about it all and vent everything out. And I do think we'll continue to keep on trucking. I think we have a pretty good thing going, and we're getting better as we go. I know it ain't no professionally done, top tier podcast, but by all means, we have a good time doing it, and we appreciate the hell out of everyone for always showing us support, especially all the guys at Flow. They always give us shout outs, even though we are extremely unpolitically correct and do not have a filter. They send people our way all the time, and we are very, very grateful for that. And I can, we will never be able to really repay them, but we'll always make the cooler and the Sugar Shack available for any of them boys that want to come hang out, or anybody that ever needs anything from us. We're always right here. So again, appreciate Flow, appreciate the Cars Tour for helping us out and putting on great shows all year, and GeoCut obviously for making this thing happen. And obviously all of our very own sponsors that keep us going to the racetrack, Two Burrows Brewery. Obviously I would not be racing if it wasn't for Two Burrows, National Land Realty, and Northwest Automotive. That's the only reason I was racing this past week. And they got me to the racetrack after a bunch of damage, and they stepped back up even though I tore it all to hell, and they put me right back out there like we didn't skip a beat, and ended up with a pretty good result. So, Brandon, I know you got a few you need to thank as well.
Yeah, man, it's like you said, it's been a long year, right? And as you've touched on, I had some nights just like yours back in August. It's car store racing, right? And unfortunately, when you have so many badass race cars that are running on top of each other, you're gonna have big wrecks, and it's racing, and you're gonna tear up some shit, and we definitely have this year. So, like I said, we still got one left together, but I couldn't have done it this year without Crossroads Harley Davidson. Thunder Road Harley Davidson, who will be on my Mazda MX-5 this weekend. So obviously that's kind of a home race. Danville's just 30 minutes up the road from Martinsville. So it's going to be cool to get them some exposure this year on that. Also, big thank you this year to new sponsor and future continuing sponsor with our partnership with Josh Sellers this year. Really appreciate them coming on board, and that's been a blast meeting everybody over there and being able to have them out at the races. Has been great. IBCI, Tim Earnhardt and his wife Patty, can't thank them enough as well. And as well as Grand Atlantic Ocean Resort in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. All you snowbirds, all you Canadians, it's even though it's starting to cool off down here for us, it's y'all's favorite time of year. So I know we're about to start seeing you guys down that way, because winter for us for you guys is summer. Y'all come down to the beach and get in the ocean, and I wouldn't dare go get in the ocean. It's too damn cold for me. But can't wait to start seeing you guys down that way, and look forward to seeing everybody at the racetrack at Florence in November, and get some much needed deer hunting in, and have the holiday season, and then kick it right back off after the new year.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody stay tuned to the Twitters and all that. I should have some stuff posted pretty soon. Some news regarding some, shows and whatnot that we are working on. I don't know what all is going to happen yet as far as what me and Moonhead's plans are, and even beyond that, as far as Forward Drive goes, with some, a lot of content that I have ideas for, and studios that I want to build, and things that I think could help short track racing, and also be able to bring a spotlight maybe in a little bit different area of short track racing. So I will keep everybody updated as much as I can. I know I kind of hide in the shadows a little bit here and there, but I will make some pretty meaningful announcements over the next month or so. So stay tuned. I won't be too far from everybody. We will see you guys next time on Big Time Auto Racing. Hopefully we'll have a little season recap or something available here in the next couple of weeks once we get our shit back together, and see how all these races go over these next coming weeks. And you can tune in on YouTube, I believe, and watch Brandon race this weekend at Martinsville. I think the Mazda MX-5 series does put on YouTube streams, the free YouTube streams. Yep. You can watch the whole damn race at Martinsville free on YouTube. So that'd be awesome. Go cheer on some car store guys. If you don't like Brandon, Landon Lewis is in it too. So if you want to cheer on somebody else for whatever reason you're listening to this podcast, and by God, Landon's in it as well. Don't know him, but he's a car store guy and he's won a race this year. So there's somebody else to pull for. Other than that, I'd pull for Brandon, that's for sure. But anyways, we'll be seeing you guys next time on Big Time Auto Racing. Peace out.